Okay, so today, guys, we are back with another 100NL speed review with the one and only Pete Clarke. How you doing, Pete? You're doing good? You're losing, aren't you? We are going to ask the age-old question today. What is more difficult? Teaching Eastie how to play poker or caring for a newborn child? Pete's going to answer this question at the end of the video.
Okay, I've already got an answer, but I can wait till the end if you prefer.
Yeah, just wait and see. Is it? It sounds like it definitely might be me. Yeah, so we're here today with fraudulent coach turned poker dad, Pete Clarke. Yep. How you doing, Pete?
So
how's life?
Well, scamming people as a fraudulent poker coach wasn't working out too well, so I decided I would just have a kid and stop scamming people and then not be able to look after the kid because I wouldn't have any scamming money anymore. So I've not really figured it all out yet, but so far it's amazing. Like, on a serious note, for once, like, being a father is incredible, and I kind of can't believe that I almost didn't do it. You know, that I went through my whole life and almost didn't do it. It's tough, like, as they say. It's we'll shed some light at the end on whether it's as tough as trying to get you to be 100NL.
Yeah, well, congratulations from me and every other channel. We're very happy for you, mate. But with all the soppiness and seriousness out of the way, we like the 30 seconds of seriousness. We don't need any more than that. We are going to be looking at some hands from 100NL. We have already done a video on Pete's channel with 15 hands for there, and we had some fun, and I played pretty badly. I'd recommend, well, actually, it doesn't really matter which way you watch them round, but make sure you check out both videos. And yes, if you do want to support Pete in his new fatherhood, the best way to do that is use code Eastie on Carrot Corner for 15% off any purchase throughout the year. Can't ask for more than that, can you, Pete?
Well, actually, the best way to support me and my son is to not use the code so that I keep more of the money. But yeah, okay.
Depends if they're likely to buy without. Yeah, but you know, if you do want to support Pete directly, don't use the code. If you want, if that's the deal breaker, then do use the code. Correct? Right.
And I will also say you didn't play that badly. You played badly at the start of the last session, and then you made like a miraculous comeback. So we'll see if that's the same today.
So we're still in chronological order. This is again 15 hands on further in my breakdown. So enjoy. Let's take the first hand, which is ace-10 of clubs. And guys, if you didn't know, Pete is shit at keeping to the 2-minute speed review timer. I'm actually pretty good at it. So we are going to be 2 minutes per hand, and I'm not fucking about. Okay, Pete?
Well, let's just have a philosophy chat about the semantics of the word shit for a second here.
Ace-10 of clubs. Open the button. We get 3-bet, and we call. There's an ace-high board on which our opponent bets small. Happy to just call?
Hang on. Can we cut?
Ace-10 of clubs. We get 3-bet. You're not very good on 3 hours sleep, are you? It keeps cutting out. You sound like your fucking son. Anyway.
Listen, mate, I'm not okay with this, right? You're going to have to do something about this.
That was good. I like that, though. Good, decent scouse. We go for call on flop.
I was like Glaswegian mixed with scouse.
Yeah, there was some scouse in there, though. They bet the turn. We can't fold, so let's call. And the river is a deuce, a spade, and they bet another 10p.
Do you know the player? Reg or fish?
Reg.
Yeah, much worse to call here against the reg. It looks really indifferent. Like, I think... I wonder, though, like, with their Jack X, whether they're just going to bet bigger on turn. And with a flush, I feel like they're going to bet bigger on river, usually. So it looks like ace, king, ace, queen a lot. I wonder how well raising performs.
Probably quite well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time I think about bluffing, I always go, I could bluff here. Oh, but then I'm streaming, and they know I've done this before, and they've probably seen it. So, no, I'm not going to bluff. Every time.
Yeah. I mean, the way I see it is you block the really nutty hands that are the most likely to go small because of their own blocker properties, right? Like ace, jack, and pocket aces. And you might get someone to fold a jack here, actually, with a jam. And they probably don't have a flush, and they probably mostly just have like ace, king. Yeah, I think jam actually performs, or some sort of raise. Like, I think jam's the most natural sizing, but I think it actually performs really well. And I don't think I'd ever really find it unless I was on my A game. But yeah, it's really quite an interesting spot. I get the sense that call here is actually just like not good at all because nobody in their right mind bluffs like this, because your range is clearly like Jack X, Ace X, and flushes, and you're like, they must expect near zero fold equity here if they're a reg with the sizing on the river. So actually, like, raise or fold here, probably raise. Yeah,
I think that's completely fair. We do decide to pitch it at the mark because we haven't played our A game in, well, we may never have played A game. What is A game? I don't know. I certainly don't know. Ace, queen of diamonds.
We have a video on it in Carrot Corner, came out a few weeks ago. The 5 keys to unlocking your A game.
I should probably watch that. Anyway, top pair, Mithrandir is a I always say that whenever I play against them. I always have to say that like that. They go for call of the big blind. We go for a big bet. This is probably a guess. They go for call. Not the end of the world, I guess. Check on the turn. Clear value bet river. We go for 2/3. Mithrandir goes for a check raise to 36.
Yeah. I think you unblock bluffs really well here against an aggro type. Like, as long as he's like a battler and he sounds like a Viking warrior with a battle axe, like a two-handed weapon.
Viking? It's Lord of the Rings, bro. Come on.
No, man, that's like a Viking name.
Mithrandir is Lord of the Rings.
Nah, mate, no.
All right, come on. Call or fold. You sound like call, yeah?
I'm going with call against this player, but fold against many.
Yeah, I sat there. I was like, oh, but yeah, he could definitely be bluffing this, and don't really see where he could have a value here. I think he'd mostly do a lot of flop check raising, and maybe he'd bet the river himself. Nah, he's just got fucking two pair, mate. Right, on to the next hand.
Yeah, I think it's okay though. I think it's okay as long as he's a battler.
Yeah, he is definitely a battler. Talking of battlers, for some reason, playing against Andre Koz just brings out like my massive bollocks. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what it is.
Brings out your bollocks.
My bollocks just surface every time I'm playing against Andre Koz because I just want to fucking beat him. Do you know what I mean? Have you got that player? I don't know if you do. Anyway, we call the 3-bet. I'm not folding this deep against Andre. And we see this flop and he checks. So my understanding of Andre is that when he's got a medium strength hand, he checks. When he's got shite, he bets. And when he's got good hands, he bets. So when he checks this board, I am doing my bollocks. That's like my first and foremost action.
Yep. I think it's good. I think this deep, this is a highly overfolded spot in like scared reg land. And most regs are scared on Jack 9-6.
Yeah.
Flush draw in a 3-bet pot at this stack depth. I totally agree. I think that we were talking in our last video about what do we do in quote-unquote stain-filled pools, right? Pools that are full of, like, I'm not saying Andre is one of them, but I think the answer is that we slowly grind profit by redlining and just running them over and putting them in spots where they're uncomfortable and folding most of range. And I think this is a spot where if you just start unleashing, it's going to be very good. So given that your bollocks are already out, given who the opponent is, you may as well just take the next step here.
If you're confused why there's so many bollocks flying around, the last video would explain that a little bit. It became somewhat of a thing. Anyway, we go for half pot, he calls. Turns 8 of diamonds. I don't see any reason to deviate from the strategy. I can't show down, and I've come this far. But those are really good reasons.
I don't think you should put them back in the trousers at this point.
Yeah, okay. If we go for another half pot, and he calls again. The river's the 10 of spades, and he checks. There is a 1.5x left.
Yeah, we're certainly bluffing. I don't think we're bluffing 1.5x because he's just made a bunch of flushes and straights. So I think shove is really bad here, but this is a clear bluff. I think just half pot or something. I mean, what going to fold out? 2-pair, set, aces, kings, stuff like that. Ace jack, king jack of diamonds. Yeah, just something smallish. Yeah,
I go for something small, about $206. And no, I'm a big fan, man.
I'm not. It's horrible. So when your opponent's range polarizes heavily on a card and they have like straight, unless you think he's folding like loads of queen X here, which I think is optimistic.
I mean, that is the idea, yeah.
Maybe he is. But the thing is, like, to make 2x pot shoves when your opponent has plenty of nut flush combos, right? They do have plenty of nut flush combos here. I think is just overpaying for fold equity. Like, okay, maybe they're folding a queen. I don't know. I feel like I would just rather... I don't know, this is interesting. I think I'd rather take the line that just gets, like, phenomenal bang for your buck. Like, I feel if you have pot, or even third pot, you do so well risk-reward wise.
I'm not going to pop out one bollock on the river when I've come this far.
No, you're putting one back in. You've got two out already.
Yeah, okay, put one. I'm not putting one back in. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't like betting 1/3 in position. Ben gets really angry at me.
Yeah, I mean, there are some spots where I think it's okay, and I think this is one of them, but in general, fair. I think for this play, we want a big spade card blocker, like in GTO always, and I don't know if it's worth deviating from that here when there's just other good lines that look good. I mean,
we have a pseudo big spade blocker with a 4 of spades.
We don't have a spade. This is a meaningless card. Like, we don't have a spade.
Ace 4 of spades?
Yeah, but it's like the least likely hand to just go check call. It's like way more of a betting hand compared to some of the other ones.
Yeah. I do think he bets his flush draws too often, by the way, before this. So
yeah.
Anyway, we do get the snap fold, which is nice.
Yeah, I think I just go smaller. Definitely bluff, but I don't think that's the right play.
Stop trying to derail my fucking speed review, man. We open, call, big blind call,
fine.
Flop the world, go for bet, see both call, ace turn, bet.
I like block here.
I go for half.
Yeah, reasonable.
We get 1 raise.
You've lost unless you hit, but call, I guess.
This game's so dead. How dead is this game, man?
I mean, nobody bluffs here in
Yeah.
a 3-way pot where you just like,
No.
this is not a spot people come after you, right? Ever. Yeah, fold.
Flick it in?
No.
Okay.
Good fold. Good fold.
Yeah, no, in game I was exactly the same. Picking up the ladies, go for cold 4-y against Bounce 86. I don't recognise that name. Bounce 86 calls. Jack Deuce 4. Oh, this is a fun hand. I'm interested to see what you think on this.
I actually like smaller 4-bet just because like there's so many uncapped ranges and you're just like so linear-y mergy here. I actually think you can just go like 15 or something. But
Okay.
yeah, that's a side point.
Side point made. Spent 10 seconds on a side point and then 5 seconds explaining that it was a side point. Brilliant.
Well, now it's you that's...
Yeah, I know. But I'm clicking buttons in the background. We go for better, he calls. Looks good, yeah?
I think I prefer bigger on this texture at this stack depth with this hand, probably, but I'm not hating it at all.
Okay. We see 10 of spades. I think that's a pretty not the best card.
Really bad card, yeah. So you can have aces here sometimes. You can have jacks and tens. There's very limited stuff you'd ever get 3 streets from. Looks like a very... You have the diamond. Looks like a very clear check.
Yeah, we go for check. River's 8 of clubs, and they bet 2/3 pot.
Again, it's another one of these spots where I think I was talking about this last time. I just don't fold here in real life. I don't think this is a fold. I think like Ace King can bluff now and would get freaked out by SBR pre and can be here really often. You've left the range that landed on the turn kind of unfiltered on river, right? Through the turn check. I think it's a very clear call, but it's not a happy spot. I don't think I'd fold here.
Is it a bluff catcher? It is a bluff catcher, right? He's not going to bet 2/3 pot with Ace Jack.
It's not impossible that he has the other one combo of queens or like Ace Jack occasionally, but I'd say it's almost always a bluff catcher. I just think it's bluffed enough, this spot.
Okay. Would you say this is a bluff or is this a value bet?
This is a value bet.
Okay, cool. Nice one. 5-3 of spades. Vinhood Diesel, who is a something reg, opens the button and we see this board, which we check, and he checks back. The Jack of Hearts on the turn.
Yeah, could have donked the flop just to derail you, but didn't have to. Got to the Jack of Hearts turn. I can't really check. I don't really like check calling or check raising this hand because it performs really badly after loads and loads of money goes in. So I just use this as a pure bet. I just use this as a bet all the time. And I think sizing wise, you have a lot of overbet here. I think you can do some, mostly just like very big or check on this node for me. So I think I'm going huge. I think I'd go bigger.
Okay. We do pot, but you're right. Yeah, probably overbet seems good. We river a flush.
Yep, so some form of value bet. I think this will be an unbluffed spot, underbluffed spot if you check. So definitely not a fan of slow playing. Generally on these rivers, you're not going to go as big. Like many of your value bets here are going to be smaller, and then a correctly adjusted opponent will like throw in bluff raises and stuff. That probably won't happen enough, so I'd lean away from like the very blocky sizes here, even if they're a thing at equilibrium. And I'd probably settle on like 2/3 pot or something like that.
Looks like we've overbet.
Yeah, it's not horrible. I just think it's a pretty scary node for villain to face. You're beat by a lot of combos, and when you put those two things together, I think it's likely that a smaller size performs better than this.
Custom raise.
Yeah, I mean, he does have like King Jack with the King of Spades, Queen Jack with the Queen of Spades. These seem like the most normal bluffs. Aside from that, maybe like Kings with the King of Spades. It's another one of these nodes that seem to come up a lot when we make content, whereby some players are never ever bluffing. Like some players have not ever bluffed this spot in their life. Like never have I ever. They would not be drinking for this part of the game. And for other players, they are bluffing here every time they have the King of Spades because they just think it's good and they're like a bit FPSy. So it depends on the opponent, but my default is just fold to this after I've overbet the river. But there are some opponents that it'll be overbluffed against.
I also think that if they did have some sort of funky King of Spades, which would be their main bluff, I don't think that people generally bluff the Queen of Spades because they're like, oh, I really want to block the nuts. I think they just go all in. Like, I think all in is just way better. I think this is just like, oh, I've got a flush, please call me. And no, I'm just not going to do that, Pete.
I like it. I like the fold. Yep, really solid. I think you're really good at that, like folding in spots where it really
folding
sucks,
on stream, yeah, I'm so good at folding on stream. It's my favorite thing to do. We go for 3-bet. We get called by Jayhawk77, who I just do not remember. Oh, this is actually someone that's watching, but I don't think I knew that before the hand.
I know Jayhawks.
Oh, you do?
Well, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. We're not getting
any. Brother.
It's my son. Check.
Start them young, right?
Yeah, I go for check. I don't know about this one. I'd probably prefer to bet.
I don't really care. Like, I guess it's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe you could make an argument like people react worse to bet here than check, which is almost certainly true at this pool. So probably, yeah, bet's just a bit healthier in general here against pool. But yeah, in equilibrium, you can go either way.
Jayhawks checks. Ace of hearts turn. See you later stack. Pot. 2E this is, I guess. Yeah, it's 2E.
I would not do this. This is check on the flop, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that villain is now very polarized to bad hands and ace-x.
Yeah.
When they check back. So this turn sizing doesn't make sense because if they have a slow play, ace-9 or ace-8, ace-queen, ace-jack, there will not be any fold equity here. And if they have like pocket 7s, pocket 6s, king-queen, you can just bet a third. So the right sizing here is probably with like a third for most of your betting range here. You would have some impetus to go huge, like to go 2E at equilibrium with like ace-king and stuff like that. I just think it's a very bad line against humans, the way ranges actually play out here. I don't think it's great as a bluff.
Okay.
I think it's a gotcha line when I actually have it here. If I have 9s here, I think I'm just like, oh, this is so good to just like go to E that I just wouldn't want to bluff this way against human pool because they're still split here. They're so polar here. I would definitely give up the river. But this might be my bias because this is my son that you're playing against.
So here's the thing, Pete. I think you're right, but they know that. So when I bang it in, are they not just like, shit, this is just never bluffed? Like, who the hell is bluffing the deuce of clubs here when it just looks like I'm always in the call when I call pot and turn?
Yeah, but the reg has to be on the right level for that to be the case, right? So like if you, and I'm not saying Jayhawks isn't, I don't really know what level he's on here, how he's thinking about this. But if you have that meta where like it's a thinking reg who enjoys making big folds and likes to just play the folding game well, absolutely, this is a great hand to bluff with. It makes a lot of sense. But, and like, yeah, in equilibrium, it's probably fine for this to be like a low frequency bluff, but I do think this spot is just like very low fold equity across the pool. And what I care more about is the overall amount of empirical fold equity we'd observe in this spot against pool here, like what the MDA would say, more than like what the specific thought process would be of a person that's folding, unless I know it's that sort of person, in which case the fold equity spikes. Yeah. But I think globally it's just too low here, the fold equity.
I can't use words like globally when we're doing a speed review. Come on, I'm all in.
It's like a Clanty thing globally.
Yeah. And Ben says it a lot as well. Fucking nerds.
Ben would say a lot. Ben spent too much time with. He's been clantified.
He has.
Don't you think he's been clantified?
He still spends way too much time with him as well. He never spends any time with me. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah.
Anyway. Although I do have a video coming. Well, it would already be out. It's me losing 100NL. Shock. Right. Jayhawks folds. Ace-5 he had. They told me. They had Ace-5.
It's a really good fold from him because this is a very unbluffed spot in pool. He's played this really well, and you've played this really well against somebody that's thinking well about poker.
Yeah.
I just don't know about like what the average player that you don't know is like in this pool and how good an idea it is against them.
Agreed. And we take those. Jacks. Winsy F is a reg. This is very reggy, this table. Fucking hell. Check. Raise. Happy?
Yep.
Cool.
I mean, anything else would be horrible.
You don't put it past me. I'm here for a reason, man. He calls. We check the turn.
I would definitely bet the turn.
Okay.
And the reason is that villain is just going to invest much more by calling on nodes like this than by betting.
Would you bet do your bollocks or would you bet fold?
I don't really care at this point. I just think betting's better than checking on turns. So like I will answer that question, but first I want to stress that like it doesn't really enter my thought process yet. I sort of cross that bridge as and when I come to it. And I wouldn't worry about it. But yeah, let's look at the hand as played.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. They're still really quite mergy here. And we've put ourselves in a very awkward situation where we had a very clear investment for betting with our equity. And it's not clear that like check raise is better than check call here. Like we're kind of between investments now. So I don't really know now. It's kind of murky against half pot. Against smaller, I would just check raise again if I check turn here. But now maybe we're just in call territory. I don't know.
Ah, cool. Four of spades. Check half pot again.
Gross. Really gross spot. I guess we fold, but it really sucks.
It just is like 9-7, isn't it?
It's a lot of like mergy stuff that got there as well sometimes, I think. Sets. Yeah, I think it's probably a fold.
We'll flick it in the muck.
Okay.
In the spirit of speed review, well, moving on. Mm-hmm. We get 3-bet by Downer, who is just so lucky. And we call. That is...
free. If he's not lucky, you don't want to be playing pots against people that are really lucky.
Okay. What if I'm also very unlucky as well, so... Queen 7-3 rainbow. We check. He goes for small. And we call.
Super close. Yep.
We turn a set.
Yep. Let's check.
We are, by the way, 200 plus big blinds deep. In case your 3 hours sleep brain didn't pick it up.
I didn't even look at the stats, so it helps. Thanks.
Check. And the river is the 6 of spades. It's not an 8.
So the question is, like, are you going to do better here by value betting and hoping that, like, jacks, hands that would check back are calling you a lot, like 9s, 10s, jacks. There are definitely some of them. Queen 10 might not always bet river, that sort of thing. Do you want to check raise with the idea that you allow villain to bluff now with ace king, ace jack, ace 5, which are a lot of those, and also maybe bet call sometimes with ace queen, king queen, or something like that? I'm leaning towards the latter. It looks like a default check raise spot. I do think against very passive players, like, you might do better by just betting here, and, you know, a lot of these stain players that will, like, bluff catch 10s here but never bet and under bluff river, you might do better by betting. I think I'm going check raise though. I think I'm pretty clear on that.
I end up with overbet.
Okay. The thing is, like, what's calling overbet? Like, usually queen x plus, and I think that usually bets itself. So
we are very deep though. I think some people do check back, like, your king queens on the turn to, like, not do their absolutes, you know, by river.
Yeah, but can they resist, like, not value betting after you check river? I don't know. I think usually someone with king queen here is betting, right? So I think it's just a spot where
they'd also bet
if
fold.
You overbet, yeah, they bet fold, but yeah, most of the hands that are calling here are also betting. And sure, like, if villain has ace queen, you do make more by doing this than you do by check raising if they fold ace queen, but all it takes is for them to bet call sometimes with aces, kings, ace queen, king queen, for a check raise just to be way better, especially because check raise allows them to bluff like ace jack and ace 5 and whatever else, king jack, king 10. If they've been too tight on turn, they might have too many airball hands here. So I definitely think that the evidence is pointing towards checking river here, unless villain is like a mega passive, in which case, yeah, maybe we do just want to, like, try and get called when they have pocket jacks or a queen.
Okay, well, we didn't check raise, but we do get raised.
I actually think that you can't jam.
Oh my god, I'm definitely not jamming. I'd rather fold.
I think that this is either queens. Like, I think it's queens way more than it's, like, 7s or 6s, and that's the value region, right?
I think it's never 10-9 and it's never 5-4. I think they bet the turn pretty much all the time, and I think they go bigger. This is like I don't have the nizzy busies, and I know you can have 5-4 and 10-9, but I do want more value.
I think he has exactly pocket queens, like, almost always. I do think that there's, like, some 10-9, and yeah, can we fold? I mean, no one ever folds here. If you fold here, like, what a fucking heroic act of courage.
I think I should fold here.
Should being the key word.
Yeah, but I didn't fold because I've got a set.
Who actually folds this spot?
I honestly think this is nobody. Yeah, no, but
I think
they only have queens here. I think they legitimately only have queens.
I really do agree. Yeah. I do agree. I think this is almost always queens, and I think if you're playing like I think you have to be playing like your A star game to fold here. Like, A game isn't even enough to make this fold.
Well, thank fuck he didn't bet the turn, and thank fuck we didn't check raise the river. We made unbelievable savings. We could have even made more savings if we're just complete sicko, but we're not.
So many of my students would have jammed the river there, and I would have, like, lost my shit with them completely, and, like, started calling them all kind of, like, really abusive, nasty things. You know,
yeah, you could just jam your straights and just call a 3-bet here against. I don't know who this is. This sucks. We call flop.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to consider the turn fold. This is why this is here.
It's not that unreasonable. Honestly.
Yeah.
The later the position this is, the more, like, queen jack suited, queen 10 suited, jack 10 suited they'll be, probably, because that starts to flat more and more as you get, like, earlier here. If villain's playing flat, I just don't know, man. You also have, like, a blocker to, like, some of the bluffs. It's better to call ace 5 or something, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, but I think if I had ace 5 here, I'd be like, yeah, fold. But I think it's just entitlement that I have ace queen. It's just sort of, like, not fair. I think if I had ace 5, ace 4 here, I would just fucking fold. I honestly do think that it's just mental.
That's definitely backwards, yeah. So with any ace queen ace jack combo, like, if you start fully ace, which I really don't think is that unreasonable, it should be ace queen ace jack that goes in the muck first. Yep. We
do end up calling, which is obviously whatever. They shove the river. Now we have an easy fold.
Yep.
Kings, we 3-bet, and Vile Pig makes the call.
Who's this guy? Do you know this guy?
Yeah, I do know him. He like sells courses, but he's actually like not very good, and everyone knows that he's like a bit of a fraud. But some people still buy his. But like he's like people are sort of just keeping him going because I think he started a family, so I think they still buy his stuff. But I think he's like complete.
But he's a scammer, yeah.
He's a scammer, and like he's completely washed. So like I'm really excited to play a 3-bet pot.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Yep. Floppy's Queen 7-3 with 2 clubs, and we go for this.
Seems good.
Seems good. And this fucking useless degenerate calls 6 of hearts on the turn.
Yeah.
Just barreling.
I think this is without the club. This is just a pure barrel, especially against the washed up degenerate. Who's probably going to invest more passively than aggressively, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He calls, and the river's the jack of spades. I actually think this is, all jokes aside again, this is a pretty interesting river spot.
It's a pretty interesting spot, yeah. I would imagine most of his range is ace-10 of clubs.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, this doesn't go to showdown, right? This is such a shame.
No, it doesn't.
So I'm Vilepeg, guys. That's the joke,
I think they got it.
Not all of them got it, Nick. Don't overestimate them.
Yeah, it's fair.
All of them got it.
Yeah, to be fair, YouTube is an absolute cesspit. I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel.
And to Carrot Corner.
And to Carrot Corner. And buy things from Carrot Corner with Easty code. There you go. We got it all done.
Yeah, Weapons of Washed Up War is one of the best courses we've made in recent time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the question is like, do we do better by jamming? Jamming is made a lot thinner on the jack, right? Because Queen Jack gets there and Jacks gets there in under the guns range, and Vilepeg is going to have quite a lot of those hands. If we shove, we are unblocking Ace Queen, which is one of the main calls for sure, which is good. If villain can slow play aces here, that kind of sucks. Most people don't. And then he still has queens, 7s, and 6s. So I want to start off by saying that this is actually, when you block king queen as well, this is a lot thinner than it might look.
I think
this river.
I was very uncomfortable on this river. I just did not know what to do. I was either check calling, obviously, or because it's you, or I was shoving.
Well, when a card comes that makes villain less likely perhaps to call with some hands and then catapults other hands in their range upward in equity, right? So it kind of like polarizes them a little bit.
Again,
You could consider block. Yeah, you could consider building a smaller bet here. It's a bit weird.
You're going to just fucking pile it in my mouth if I do that. Look at it. Like, what hands? Like, I'm going to have to block like queens here, and I don't want to do that. Maybe I do.
Well, first off, you're making an assumption that this scammer is going to bluff raise. Like, what would he need to turn into a bluff here?
Yeah,
like,
true.
10s, queen 10, something like this. I think it's a really unnatural spot to bluff raise in because your hands for doing it are so unappealing looking. So I think most people will never bluff raise this spot. Okay, maybe some people do, but I'd question that assumption. And then I would just say like, okay, if you don't think check call is that great, and I don't think it's amazing, it will be okay, then block small and then figure it out. Like, it could be the case that you hate getting jammed on, and it could be the case that like when you block and get jammed on, it's a close, tough spot. But that doesn't mean that it's better to do this than it is to block river, right? If you're worried this is too thin.
Yeah, we do shove and you do fold ace 10 of clubs. So I just thought I'd throw that in there for a bit of fun, and we did have fun. So this was on a recent top 10, not recent if you're watching this now, but as I'm speaking, it was just on top 10. And this is a whale, and we see this board, and I'm upset. I do check.
I like that. Yeah, I think this is good. Just get a bit of transparency. Let's see what they do. Like, this is okay. Yep.
And then there was a lot of people upset with this node.
I saw this. I actually watched this while I was feeding my son the other night. Not Jack, not
the other one,
or whatever, but the other one, the new one. Not the one I had like 24 years ago and forgot about, and then became a poker player. Yeah. Man, you flatter me, but okay. So yeah, I saw you jam this when I was watching this on my TV and on my sofa, and I remember thinking that it gave me a bit of a weird feeling.
Every hand gives me a weird feeling because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I was just like, what would you want me to do? Call and then just like what?
Yeah.
But there's only $36 left. What do you want? What do you want me to do?
If you're not folding, it's like I think jam is better than call.
Yeah.
Because villain's range is very mergy here, very very mergy and very equity driven. Villain can have queen jack, pot queens, like some stuff you beat. I think it's easy to overestimate or to underestimate just how many hands kill us here, though. There's just a lot on a board like this at the same time, and we block like most of the hands we want villain to have, like the king jacks and king. Well, some of those, like not most of them, but we block some of them, and none of the good stuff. It might be a fold. Yeah,
I could see that. I didn't really consider fold. I just comparing jam to call, and I think you're right, is better. And we do get clean 2 out on the turn. Nice.
And I remember you being like, how does this happen? Like getting really mad. And
did
like,
you have
here's
an
a
answer?
question for you. It happens because like the poker gods hate you. They do this to you with their algorithms so that you can keep making content for them and keep getting.
I think that is what it is, genuinely.
Yep.
We get raised.
I have a question for you though.
Yeah.
Side question: who's more salty when they play poker, you or Weasel?
I mean, I think I kind of deserve to be salty. That man has won a Triton for $750,000, and he's still fucking salty, like really salty, and genuinely believes that he runs really, really bad. I don't know if I was very happy for him, as you know. I don't know if you've seen that run in that tournament, but my fucking God, if I ever run like that in anything, let alone a fucking Triton main event, whatever it was, Mystery Bounty event, I would never moan again. That is, you can guarantee, guys, if I run a tournament next year and ping it, I'm telling you now, I will be fine with doing it off. So I think that he is saltier than me purely based on the fact that he has no fucking right. And I definitely do, because I've never done anything of meaning at all, ever. Happy?
Good answer. Yep.
Right. 10 high board. So Muchiko Pirate is a weird reg. He's like, I actually have no idea, because I think I'm obviously a pretty weak reg. I think he might be a weak reg, but I just don't know. Like some of the stuff he does, I'm just not really sure that's good. The reason I know that he's bad in that sense is because I do a lot of stuff that I have no idea if it's good. So I'm assuming that if I don't know if what he's doing is good, then it's probably not very good. Anyway, we call. We turn 2 pair. Mm-hmm. He continues to bet. We continue to call.
Mm-hmm. Yep, like it.
And the river he shoves.
Call.
We snap. And he has aces with a diamond. So this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. I think this is thin.
Yeah, this is very thin, especially because like you don't call flop multi-way to half pot with naked king X, right?
Yeah.
So like this is just not good.
No, it is bad, isn't it?
He should find a very small river sizing on this node for most of the hands he's value betting that aren't like super nutted.
I think even if he bets small, I probably am all in, but like not thrilled. So it's a bit of a weird one from him, I think. Now this is. I'm not. You know what? I'll say at the end. We open the small blind. Maple syrup goes for the call. Maple syrup is a strong regular. We flop a pair and a flush draw and decide to go for a bet on this occasion. And maple syrup raises.
Yeah, calling.
And we call. King of clubs on the turn. We go for check. Obviously, they polarize.
Oh,
we call. The river's the king of hearts, and we check, and they go all in.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is really interesting. The 6 is obviously a good card to have. Blocking 6 is full. The 8 is a bad card because like the low spade combos are probably like going to go for this on river sometimes, like 8-7 or something. Yeah, honestly, against a goodish player, I don't have a problem with calling this combo, but I would be obviously just folding against the unknown potential stain all day long.
Yeah, I figured with the 6 of spades, we block a significant portion of value, and a lot of his good hands from the turn now can't value bet, like ace 4, ace 6, and 4-6. And when we have a 6 of spades, we block 6s, obviously. King 6 of spades, which is definitely possible. King 8 of spades, even. I think he's going to check back a lot of King X of spades on the turn anyway. So I genuinely think he probably just has pocket 4s. Or hopefully something that isn't a nut hand for once.
Yeah. I mean, his value range is so small here that like the effect of a 6 blocker is just colossal compared to like normal blocker effects. So this might be a spot where, you know, in the Carrot Poker School, we kind of stress that blockers don't matter that much. And there are certain ones that matter more, and we go over them in grade 1. But this sort of hand is an exception to that. It's where your blocker is like really, really impactful. So I think calling with a 6 just makes a ton of sense here.
Maybe this was the 2 minutes in my life that I played my A game, because I did find it and we actually won. And maybe the proudest moment. I haven't had many good moments this year, but this actually genuinely felt quite good. It's the kind of moment where you think, actually, I do remember why I bothered playing this game.
Yeah, it's the kind of moment where like you're the tantruming baby, and then like suddenly the baby just goes to sleep, and he's still for like 1 second, and you're like, thank fucking God, and it's like you in this moment. Yeah, and
then let's snap wake up with this one. Go for 3 bet. We get cold 4 bet by the same player. And we call. King 9-9. They go for small. We call. Queen turn check. I guess we just check. We're deep as fuck, by the way.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking if we don't bluff this, what are we bluffing?
That's why it's in here.
So if we had ace jack suited, we might fold pre. I think with ace 10 suited, we would just fold pre, correct?
Yeah.
Or would we peel?
No.
We probably don't peel. So in that case, we're actually kind of close to bottom of range, and we also have redraw. So it's very rare that we'll have this limited showdown value and also redraw at the same time. So I feel like bluffing is fine theoretically, and B, probably performs quite well against pool, especially if we're willing to just go for it on river. I think this is a spot where they're going to be really uncomfortable. So I like, just like, to quote the great Nick Eastwood, doing our bollocks in this hand.
Not quite the great Nick Eastwood, not covering myself in glory. We see half pot on river, and I think now probably flicking it in the muck.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. And this is our last hand. I do not remember
well for time.
if it's good. Yeah, well, because we're on my channel, not your fucking philosophical bullshit channel. Carrot Corner, we'll go other ways. Go and subscribe. We get a limp from Marius, who I assume is a big whopper, and we check the big blind. He goes for bet. We go for call.
Well, hold on. What do you mean bet?
He goes for bet.
But what does it really mean to say he goes for bet?
Why are you doing this to me? We're going to get there.
So I want to derail the video now and do philosophy.
Yeah,
Bad philosophy.
Turning the nuts. Check. Marius goes for bet. And yeah. I have specific feelings.
I saw this hand. Hand again. I was watching it on my TV, and I love the way you played this, and I love what you said. This is the first moment I've ever had in my life where... No, seriously, I've ever had in my life where I thought Nick Eastwood both played a hand well and sounded super calm, coherent, and in control of his emotions. And I had all of those thoughts, and I was really proud of you in this moment. And I don't know when this was. It could have been last night. It could have been 9 nights ago.
Yeah.
It's all a huge blur with the baby and stuff, but this was one of the better moments of managing the baby's wind problems.
Okay.
I love the way you played this hand.
Well, let's actually play the hand and so people know what we're talking about. So... in that case, I'll just talk through it because we don't need you for this. If you're happy with my thought process, I think that when someone bets here, they have hands that are either going to snap fold to any raise, or they're going to have a hand that always wants to continue. So when they have a hand that they like here, like 2 pair set, a 10, a 5, they're never, especially this kind of player, they're never going to fold. Doesn't matter what size you make it. So we absolutely can't leave any money on the table here. We want to make it as big as possible on the turn because they pretty much don't have folds with their hands that they like. So I make it like 10x, and they just rip it in my mouth, and we call. And they have 10-9. Probably would have stacked it anyway, but yeah. Yeah,
horrendous play by Villain. Like an absolutely abysmal play. But as you said on stream, they don't know that you're repping basically Jack 10 and are never bluffing, which is the status quo here.
Yeah.
And then the other thing you actually said on stream here was you said something to the effect of, it's really, really important, guys, that you realize that, and you actually spoke to your audience there.
First time ever.
A kind of mentoring them as a cam professional that knows what's going on, rather than screaming at them and hoping they'll be entertained by it. And I'm not saying you should do less screaming, because the screaming's great and they love it, but it was a moment of like tenderness from you almost, where you were suddenly calm enough to be helpful to the audience.
I think it's because I knew that I was speaking with clarity, so I was like, you know what, guys? You have that. That's from me to you, because I don't give you much. It might be the only thing you ever get. So there you go. Anyway, on that
real tender moment.
Yeah, on that delightful note, we are done with the hands. Thank you very much, Pete. I appreciate it. Taking the time out of your schedule of napping and winding to look at some hands with me. It's obviously always a pleasure to have you on, and everyone really enjoys it. So cheers, buddy.
Yeah, no worries at all, mate. It was a pleasure, and I do think that your game gets better every time we speak, even though there are a few hiccups here or there.
Certainly some hiccups. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Drop a like on the video. It really helps us out. And I will see you on the next one. All the best.